Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Justin the Food Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm Justin Bizzarro. I'm your host. That's Bizzarro. And we have our amazing and quiet, hopefully more verbal co-host with us again today, Skyler Rabson. How you doing today, Skyler?
I'm good. I'm getting there.
You're getting there. Yeah, we're working on the flapping of the jaws. One day, people will be like, "Oh my God, Skyler, you don't know when to shut up." But right now, we're working on getting you there. So, but today I have with us Emily and Larry Johnson. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good.
Doing good.
Chugging along.
Thanks for having us back.
Yeah, so we're doing a part two. We're bringing you guys back in. And anyone who doesn't remember, it was a few episodes ago. So check it in for the part one. But, Little Bites food truck, it's a great menu. You can find them at littlebitesfoodtruck.com. That's LITTESFOODTRUCK.com. So, and you can find them, Little Bites Food Truck on Instagram and Facebook as well. So, they are out there, or Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And so, how are you guys doing? And last we left off, we were hearing about some new adventures that involved pandas and raccoons, to be specific, and not of the consuming, but of sort of the caricatures that we were looking at to move forward with your new brand. So, so where do you guys want to start today?
So we're just getting in as much work as we can right now with the mindset of where we want to get as much capital as we can to go in this new venture. And really what we've been doing is, our whole menu is pretty awesome, but we have been trying to focus more on the empanadas and kind of showing people putting logos up of a panda and raccoon, and kind of try to move from the truck to the brick and mortar, because we don't want to just close the truck and open a brick and mortar. We want people to know who we are and where to find us. And so we've really been focusing on the empanadas as our front runner and our superstar on the menu.
It's awesome. And so, so we talked about your menu a little bit last time. I'm just going to name some of the items that are on here just so the audience could get an idea. We talked about the Freedom Fries, which was one of your best ones. It's basically crispy fries topped with chunky blue cheese or ranch, bacon crumbles, diced green onions, and wild wing sauce. So there's things like that, your traditional Georgia favorites like boiled peanuts. There's also soft pretzel bites and deep fried okra, which I would say resemble Georgia very well, and frickles, which is fried pickles served with ranch or spicy ranch. That's cool. And so I'm going to name them off the menu just because I want the audience to drool a little bit with me as I'm drooling over them. So I see we have a a bacon mac and cheeseburger empanada, a buffalo chicken empanada, a pepperoni pizza empanada, a brisket empanada, and a pulled pork empanada. And so with that being said, are those sort of the staples that you guys are moving forward with as you guys expand your brand and start to get into brick and mortar?
Yeah, we currently every time we go out, we have the buffalo chicken, pulled pork, brisket, and pepperoni pizza, and then we try to kind of rotate some other ones as a panda du jour kind of thing, a different panda. Whenever we go out, so that's where the bacon mac and cheese comes in, Hawaiian ham and Swiss,
chicken cordon bleu,
spicy barbecue chicken. We're still experimenting with some other stuff, but we're hoping to, as we were talking before, opening the UDEM Pandas brick and mortar with probably 5 main pandas, and then a different panda every day for kind of the special of the day. So every Tuesday might be, spicy barbecue chicken panda in addition to the other ones. And we're doing a residency out at Nofo Brew Co. in Cumming that basically starts this Thursday, where they're going to be there every Thursday through March. So every Thursday we're going to bring a different kind of fifth panda to so people can start try out some new ones and see which ones are really popular. And help kind of
again, kind of a market research as we're still working toward what our ultimate goal. So it's we have a market that's like literally there. Like before, when we first started the food truck, it was like taking. Remember, as we discussed, we would take menus and we would ask people what they would like to order. Now we can actually make the food and see what's popular and get direct feedback, not on just what they think they would like, but what they've actually had and actually like. So that's kind of where we kind of have a leg up from transitioning to our next journey that we didn't have when we first started this journey.
It's pretty incredible. Just sort of the evolution of it all, and just to see it with you guys in your story, what all sort of entrepreneurs go through, which is that evolution of their business, and never really starts off as we plan it. But when you're trying to chase both the survival of your business and then profitability, and then growth from that profitability, you have to continue to pivot and listen to your customers. So obviously the empanadas are one of your biggest sellers, or you wouldn't be going in that direction. So I mean, as you've started to introduce the raccoon and the panda, for example, into your branding and identified it in the empanadas and the different panda, I mean, are you seeing positive feedback? Are you seeing a transition there? And I mean, does that mean you're printing menus differently? I mean, sort of talk about how you're, I guess what you're doing is putting that image out there into people's mind, because that's exactly what you have to do, is continually show it to people in order for them to remember it.
Yeah, so we've been wearing the ears for a while, the raccoon and panda ears, and we're gonna, like, anybody that works with us, any male is gonna wear the panda ears, any female is gonna wear the raccoon ears. But we've always had that kind of recognition with us. I mean, but now we're really integrating it. Do you want to tell them? Did we tell you about what we call our panda passport?
You've told us about it, but let's talk about it again in the audience, because I don't fully remember, but I think it'd be good to revisit it again.
Sure. It's basically a punch card. So every time you buy a empanadas, we stamp the back of it, which we actually found like a little panda head stamp. So we stamp the back, and then every 10 empanadas you buy, we give you a free order of our Kenny's Key Lime Pie Bites. So, we put the new logo on that, the UDEM Pandas logo on that, in addition to the Little Bites logo. So it's kind of, we were like Emily was saying, we want to start to, we're introducing the UDEM Pandas logo, which I think we sent you guys a copy of just so you could see it.
Yeah.
Into the mix, more into our advertising and social media, just so, when we do basically say like Little Bites is now UDEM Pandas, it won't be a complete shock to everybody. They'll kind of be like, oh yeah, they've been talking about that for a while, and I've been seeing that happy little panda with the empanadas for a while now. So
yeah, and if you get hooked, and then you sell, and you get enough people that come back, we've got a really good, I would say, following, like a return customer base and stuff. So now there's people that are coming to us looking for these certain things, and so that when we transition, they'll even if they have to drive, they'll be willing to do it, because we're not going to be mobile anymore, most likely.
Yeah.
So.
And the punch card's been great, because also we started, I think we mentioned earlier or previously, we do like flights of empanadas, so people can try like all 4 flavors, all 5 flavors at one time, kind of thing. And since we started the punch card, we've actually had a couple of people like actually just redeem the free key lime bites during the course of a day at the brewery.
That's one thing. That's one thing I wanted to piggyback on, is that since we've introduced the flights and people come and they stare at the menu and they don't know which one to do, having the flight is one of the easiest upsells possible. So when people are sitting there, they don't know which one's better and everything. All you have to do is say, well, why don't you get all 4 and see which one's your favorite? And they say, okay.
Trust the raccoon
Yeah.
when she's dead.
No kidding. But one of the things, I think it's pretty cool in the passport thing, I love the idea of the multiples, but I also can see it going where you have like a staple menu, and people can also get special stamps on there if they get a special, if you had a weekly special, and then eventually like a whole year you could be part of the Panda Club, and the Panda Club only gets access to certain empanadas that no one else gets, like the high-end ones at the same price. But you could come in and you could order from the special menu, which is like the Panda menu, once you have your passport for the year.
Yeah, pretty good idea. But you think about like Taco Mac with their beer club and thing. The Beer University or whatever it's called.
Brew University.
Brew University, yeah. That's actually a really good idea. I'll write that in my little my book that I keep. So.
Yeah, because people love access to special food or stuff like that. I can tell you just from my own experience, you not only give them a club and a thing where they get something free, but you give them access to something also that no one else has that they've earned, particularly in food, a special item that's on the hidden menu just for them.
It's a bragging right and an experience.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. That's smart.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. We're very open-minded. When people give us advice, we listen to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't always take it, but we're listening to it. And if we hear a good idea, we're absolutely willing to say, well, let's try it.
Yeah.
Without giving any secrets away of what we do, one of the best ones I feel is like In-N-Out Burger always has their secret menu. You can go order your things off different ways off their secret menu when you order it. So it's kind of a fun thing for every guest. This is just, I would say, an added layer that's I find to be even more fun if you give access to that. You know, some companies are like a member-only special shakes or something like that if they're a burger place, but I've started to see a lot of that come around and seeing success in restaurants who do that. So
yeah, we definitely offer secret menu items already.
That's
like
awesome.
There's certain people that if you know, you know, and so we've got a couple regulars that know certain things, and we tell them, we're like, okay, and they'll even like message some of these people on Instagram, and they'll uproot their whole group to come find us, because we have something that is special for them that they like that day.
I love the empanada thing, because I think it's such a perfect industry, and it's looking for that mainstream environment and on the go. And we talked a little bit like the walk to walk and taking the empanadas with you. That's one of the other things I like about it. It's something you can take with you on the go. It's like a sandwich. It's in your hand. You can keep moving with it. I mean, that's one of the things that I think it's like, okay, we're on to something. And the more mobile we are as humans, and the less we sit down and eat, which is funny. We want to sit down longer when we eat now, but we sit down less often when we eat. So,
yeah.
And if you watch your household, and you watch a lot of households, you'll see how many people stand up in the kitchen and eat their dinner, or at a table or whatever. It's becoming more and more common for whatever reason. But we're on the move. Whether we're in our cities, we're eating on the go. We see consumption as either we're going to enjoy food, we're starting to see, or it's got to be something we have to do while we're moving. So the food world that we're seeing that's doing really well and going to do really well in the future is either can you create an experience that's low cost but high end in its experience, and people can have a social gathering, sort of like your fast casuals, or do you do something what you guys are talking about, which is give humans the ability to move while eating? Because in the human's mind, we're all now about efficiency of time. How much time do we have? You know, if we're going to spend time enjoying our meals during Thanksgiving, well, that means every other meal we have, we've got to cut down to 10 minutes, or while we're doing something else, on the go driving, on the go walking, whatever. So we're seeing some of that. And then, like I said, there's more family time in the meals, but like breakfast and lunch seem to be on the go these days. And your dinner is really where you're sitting down and doing something more like a fast casual. Just saying what the trends are. Some of it has to do with at home, you know, meals and stuff like that being sent to homes, and dinners, and making dinner that type of thing where the family comes together. The other part is, like I said, now that we don't go to work, we tend to be on the go weirdly even more during COVID, which means we're actually grabbing food or nutritious food or any type of food we can go, whether it's from home, whether it's on the go, whether it's handheld empanada, whether it's, you know, a hot dog or a hamburger. it doesn't matter. We're all sort of eating on the go for those first 2 meals, even during COVID. And in fact, oddly so, probably more during COVID, because now we're trying to spend a lot more time with our family and we're trying to use our time a little bit differently. So a very cool concept.
The fact that there's an actual product that you can put in your vent in your car where you can place your dipping sauce for your McNuggets, and like in there they fit. It's designed to fit like multiple different fast food restaurants' sauces. Speaks volumes of what you're saying, that if we're needing to have somewhere where we can dip our food to, like while we're driving. That's exactly, supports that we're just either. And again, like, we eat on the go unless we're doing something like we want to, like, take Korean barbecue, for example. Like, Korean barbecue is an experience. Like, you're cooking it for yourself in front of you. You get all the different appetizers, and you get to order a meat, and then you get to cook it, and then you can order another meat. And that's those kind of experiences that you want to take time, and you're going to sit down for an hour and a half and do that. And people are willing to pay for it. But, the empanadas, you can just take them and go. You can put them you can carry them in a paper bag and just eat it in class.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the total grab and go concept. It's warm also. So for the colder seasons, it's something that warms you up as well. But it's also light enough in the way that they're built that you can eat them during the summertime. So it's like just one of those things that I find that is very universal. So before I go on, Skyler, you have any questions?
So this was touched. I was wondering, what are you guys thinking of doing with the truck once the brick and mortar opens?
I think currently the plan will be to sell the truck.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of our mind is right now. We don't really want to, we don't want to have to like keep another commissary open just to park it. And I doubt wherever we, lease a space, they'd be cool with us parking a food truck behind it.
Some do, but and that's a lot of capital for us too, So that's something that we could transition and use. But like I have somewhat of a different mindset. I feel like we could, if we have a the brick and mortar, I feel like we can park it there. I know other food trucks that do that, but like I would not be opposed to working with like a university that's we want to, and kind of rebrand it and use it for like game day, like, and brand it, still have our branding, like co-brand it with the university and have it on campus for game day, and push, and then eventually we would get also like build our brand recognition and everything. But that's just one thought that I've had.
Yeah, our near university of some sort, because again, it's walking food. It's not super expensive. We feel like students would really, really embrace the panda revolution that we're trying to start. And, we have a lot of plans to incentivize students to come and stuff like that. And we sort of want to grow the shops at college towns is sort of the thinking, whether it's Kennesaw State or Athens or something like that. And then, sort of expand to different college towns.
Yeah, but we want our proof of concept to be fairly local, because for just logistics reasons, we're going to be doing this bootstraps, on our own before we start getting, other people involved, and other people, general managers, regional managers, things like that. So, we want to be able to, if we need to go get something or go do something, that it's close enough that's realistic, because we know we're going to have to be spending a whole lot of hours there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you from experience that college kids are always looking for food. So
right. Yeah, no, that's for sure. And
and it's affordable. Yeah. And that's our concept is affordable for a college kid.
Mm-hmm. And our plan is to do a free fountain drink with purchase, and
with student ID.
And sort of a panda ambassador program with students where if you Skyler, as our panda ambassador, we would give you Panda passports you'd have like an ID number that you'd put on the back. And then as people you gave the cards to filled up theirs, you would get free empanadas for everyone they turned in,
or some
or something, whatever kind of thing. So, it's a little bit of a pyramid scheme in that sense, I guess. But, it's free food for you and free food for other people. So we kind of see that as a good way to kind of grow and get the word out that like, oh, I have these empanadas. They're amazing. You should go and get stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did save the day at a wedding last night. Their caterer showed up an hour late, and their food was terrible. They had us come in to do like the late night meals and after all the drinks had been had and everything, and we ended up feeding them more than their sit down catered meal.
Ooh.
They said it was y'all. They said y'all saved the day. They said this was like amazing. So it's always good to hear.
Yeah, it's very interesting if you want someone trained and that can feed a lot of people very quickly so they can get on the dance floor, you're probably better off with a food truck than someone that doesn't feed people very often and wants to do it more in a fine dining setting. And reheating is nearly impossible. Like, it's very interesting how we reheat things in the catering setting these days, when it seems to me that if you're a caterer and you want to stay in the business, you probably want to think about adding a food truck to your repertoire. And I hear there might be one for sale if maybe in the future. So, but that's the thing is the reality is the food truck is the new catering business. And if you're a caterer and you're not adjusting and you're not pivoting, upscale or not, even if it's an upscale and you want to serve steaks, you're going to have to figure out how to cook on site or bring stuff on site to heat and do stuff and not in the retherm cabinets and stuff that we're doing now.
Yeah, chafing dishes are the way of the past. I mean, no one wants cold chicken that was cooked 3 hours ago that you put a sterno can underneath. And like you said, that's absolutely correct with and we're also starting to see the pivot with the people's mindset of food trucks. And there's that stigma that food trucks are like the roach coach, or they're lesser quality, or just that kind of that mentality. And I feel like we're doing a really good job of helping people get past that and understand that, wow, that really good food can come from a food truck, even though it's not necessarily filet mignon or Chateaubriand or whatever. And
they still don't believe they're going to burn their mouth if they bite right into it at the window. And it's like, it's hot. We're sorry. But yeah, people still just bite right into those empanadas and burn their mouth.
I know. Caution hot never works with anyone. I feel it always reminds me of the McDonald's, the spilling of the coffee on the lady's lap in that enormous lawsuit, even though it says caution hot. But it's like one of those things. We humans get so hungry. There's an animal instinct or something that goes on that it doesn't matter how hot that food is. We have to eat it. And we just yeah, I mean, we watch it. I'll watch people, and I can hear the noise sometimes, and yeah, and that the singeing noise in their as their saliva hits the roasting food. But it's one of those things. But I love this. I mean, I love the concept. I love the idea. I love even that you guys are already thinking about the different concepts for the food trailer, keeping it, not keeping it. If we do, what happens? How do we spread the word? So I think it's awesome. And let's talk a little bit about the catering events. I know it was something you guys rescued last night, but I mean, during the holidays, do you see your catering events go up in the food truck, for example? Is it, I mean,
yes.
I got to imagine it'll be the same as brick and mortar. You're probably going to be sending stuff more to office buildings and stuff like that. But so how do you guys handle it? Is it just like, okay, we celebrate the holiday later, let's just do what we have to do to make sure we keep getting business in the door? And we didn't really talk about it, but getting a food truck, I don't think people realize that if you want to make money, it's just like Uber. The more you want to work, the more money you can make. So would you guys talk about that a little bit also? And I will get back to the brick and mortar, but I just want to answer that question because I think a lot of people jump into food trucks and think, within no time they're sitting back and someone else is running it and they've got a fleet of them. So I just want to sort of get rid of that illusion that it's no different than any other business. That's a hockey stick effect before you really get the confidence and growth. So could we talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, our first year, we pretty much didn't turn down anything that would come in, any day of the week. We didn't have any kind of like set schedule. We worked with the Street Food Coalition, and they book events that, you pay them and you go and hope that it's good. But that's like office buildings and stuff for lunches. And that was before COVID. I'm not sure what's going on with that now, but, we would go out and just whenever there was anything, we would do it. After the first year or so, we made good relationships with a lot of breweries that we had worked at. And I think as we talked about in part one, like our food works really well with breweries, with, children and drunks is kind of our thing. And so we were kind of able to get to the point where we only go out Wednesday through Sunday. We don't go out on Monday and Tuesday. Because, you need like sanity days and some prep day, some extra prep time and stuff like that. So, after that first year, we were basically able to do that and kind of give ourselves kind of a regular schedule, which has been really nice. Especially, I think we talked also, we have an 11-year-old that we share custody with his dad. So, sometimes we have the child here, sometimes we don't. So you have to work around all of that. Obviously, if somebody calls us and has just throws a ridiculous amount of money at us, we'll go out on a Monday or Tuesday. But like we were saying, for the most part, we try to kind of keep it to Wednesday to Sunday, and we'll do doubles. If there's like a lunch, we did a lunch for the Costco employees out in Dallas the other day, and then did a brewery that night. But and again, like this week, we happened to do a Christmas party for a bar that Emily used to work at. She used to be a bartender, and they were doing their Christmas party. They asked us to come out and feed their staff, and that was on Monday, so right now, like the world is very weird for us right now because we did that on Monday, and we did a wedding yesterday, which is Tuesday.
Yeah.
And there were football games on, so it really felt like Sunday. And so now today totally feels like Monday because we don't have a gig, as it turns out, this week. And we're both very confused about what day it is around here. But that's kind of a weird thing that we had events on Monday and Tuesday this week. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely been an uptick in calls, for Christmas parties, either personal or business parties, which, I would imagine a lot of businesses have a budget that they have to spend before the end of the year. So they're just like calling and happy to pay, whatever ridiculous prices we kind of quote them, which is what we've sort of been doing at the end of the year, is just a couple of things that were great. We're like, oh crap, now let's go do it. But,
yeah, I know. That's we've been there too, thinking that the world is slow and whatever else, and we have enough business trying to keep up onboarding products. Not saying no one should keep coming, but we kind of throw out some high prices here and there, and people really bid off on them surprisingly and move forward. And it just shows you the world is willing to pay higher prices for food, guys. So if you're feeling the strain on the supply chain and the audience, we're living in a world where everyone's starting to get used to those prices going up. So I would do it now before everyone settles from the shock and they don't want the prices to go up anymore. So
right, yeah. Unfortunately, we finally had to just raise our prices a little bit across the board, just because everything was so. We realized this when I went and spent $400 and bought fries and wing sauce and paper goods. That was we need to just go up a little bit on everything. So I mean, on the bright side, nobody's blinked since we've had to raise the prices a little bit. So that's been the good news.
Yeah, we've seen the same thing, price updates on the disposables. Eggs are the thing because we buy very specific eggs for our healthcare clients, and we're seeing a 33% increase on eggs. That's just, I mean, when eggs are not very much money to begin with, and 33% more, it's a significant increase on the price of an egg overall on a breakfast menu for a hospital. So,
right.
Yeah.
It's
you
kind of
think
crazy.
about places like Kroger and stuff. The average consumer is not going to see the increase because they're trying to absorb that increase that they're having to pay. and not pass it on to the consumer. But when we go, we get like through our distributors and the prices are up, or if we can even find products, But I think people are starting to understand more and more as they do go to the grocery store, and they do see that they're starting to notice that, of course, you can't find certain products. They're just not making them anymore. So we put up a nice little blurb explaining to people just in case that, anyone had any concerns about it, that, we hate to do this, but we had to do this.
We hope it's temporary, and then, like we said, the serving trays there's like this worldwide shortage. So we, tried to make it clear in this blurb that like, it may appear that serving sizes have gone down, but it's just because they're in bigger trays, because that's what we were able to get.
And that's that perceived value thing. People see like it doesn't look like it's full,
yeah.
but
Absolutely.
Yeah, no.
It's been interesting. Yeah, since we're releasing these podcasts right away as we record them, I would say that, especially even during the holidays as everything's going on, if you've been hesitant to increase your prices in your restaurant or in your business or offerings, especially with the food service industry being short of labor, also on top of being short of actual raw materials, you just want to start preparing yourself and being able to pivot. So now's the time to do it. Even if you think you're okay, I would do it anyway.
That was basically the conversation that we had. Because again, like, we're gonna go into. I mean, we've been staying booked and busy, but statistically, when you get past the holidays, the rest, the food truck industry does get a little bit slower during the winter months, and it's not where our bread and butter is. So we said, let's go ahead and do it now. And I'm glad that we did, because there's no real sign of any changes coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, fry oil is still $39 a jug. So it was $18 last year. So
or a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too. Any of that fryer oil, any oils or anything that's pressed out or in a manufacturing plant that can't get labor anymore, it's through the roof.
Yeah.
It's just
even
crazy.
Like the key lime pie bites that we do, we use Kenny's, which is local, which is the best key lime pie out there, honestly. But yeah, they just disappeared off the shelves in like Kroger. And so I asked them what happened, and they said there was a resin shortage. And this is all the trickle-down effect of everything that's been going on with the labor. And they literally couldn't – they had product, but they didn't have anything to sell it in. And that's just, I don't know if the average consumer doesn't necessarily understand that. They think everything's basically back to normal. That means everything should be back to normal. But it's going to take time to regulate out to
get back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's and we're not using. The overall consumers are not spending money on food. The extra money they're making not by going to work, they're just consuming more products. So logistically, just so everyone's aware of this, and I don't know if we talked about it on this podcast before, I think maybe we did on the Centurion Leadership Battalion podcast, but it's when people have more money to spend because they're not spending on a gas to go to work and all that, and they're not turning around and spending it more on food, okay, or higher quality food or more diversity food or eating out more or whatever, and they're taking that and they're just consuming other things in a way that ties up more of the logistics system. What those higher end, higher margin items do, because food is a low margin item. It's the way we've built the system. It's our most essential thing in life, yet it's the thing that makes the least amount of margins. And so, but we just, we tie up the logistical chain. We tie up all the things on consuming more, and we inadvertently created competition within the logistics where food isn't even competitive in the shipping world anymore. It's not worthwhile.
And like Amazon, buy with one click, but you do that 10 times a week instead of sitting down and ordering 10 things at one time. The amount of drivers on the road and how many packages you're getting and everything, it's like what you're saying, like the people are just, This the day and age of I just order it, or I think about ordering it and it shows up the next day.
And it's very interesting, and believe me, I'm in the delivery of food direct to consumers into their homes. It's a big part of our business at Food Service Partners, big growing. But it's a very interesting thing when I look at it and I see what happens. Like, people don't do their homework anymore on the prices. They assume because it's online it must be cheaper. But if you actually look at some of the things you buy, like soda or Monster or whatever, by the time they factor in the shipping, which is in your price, you're looking at a different price that's higher from Amazon, even with free shipping or Prime, than you would pick up the same thing at a grocery store. And it's very interesting. We just assume that it's cheaper, and we make an assumption that it's cheaper to order food than it is to go, out to the restaurant to eat, or we assume that it's better for us to have someone else make our meals and bring them into our home than to make the meals ourselves. Obviously, I am saying that knowing I serve meals into people's homes, but it's a very interesting thing to me where I'm like, yeah, but you're spending more money on this other system, and you could spend more money locally or whatever food or support your local economies better and save money and have more money for food locally or whatever it is, diversify your diet. But we don't. We do this thing where we've played this trick on ourselves where it must be cheaper if it's online. And it must be better if it's online. And it's like, hold on, there's restaurants still trying to work here. We have other things going on. And yes, there's food service employee struggles, but we need to put our money into these businesses. We can't just buy our way out of this online and hope that one click is going to solve our problem.
So I was, my son wanted dinner the other night, and it was just me and him. Larry wasn't here, and I think I'd eaten like a late lunch, so I didn't really want to make an entire meal. And he's like, I just want a ham sandwich, and just ham sandwich and some black beans. And so I thought about it, and I'm like, I could go to Kroger, big retailer, and spend $6 or $7 on a pack of ham, use part of it. He goes to his dad's for a couple days, and then it never gets eaten and forgot about and then throw it away. Or I could call our local restaurant across the street and have them make a ham and cheese sandwich for about the same cost and support local. So that's the way I try to look at things.
And you're 100% right about that. We think we save money a lot by grocery shopping and not eating out, but we literally throw away so much food as consumers or don't eat it, like you said, and what difference does it make at that point? You can create more jobs, you can do right by the food system, but we should be making those choices, and we're not. We don't realize how valuable all these employees and people in food service and making diverse decisions with the way we buy food, whether it's restaurants, whether it's grocery store, whether it's whatever it is important for the economy. And more money flows through food than anywhere else, and more people work in food than anywhere else. So like, it's this kind of thing where we're like, oh, stay away from food. No one's working in food. No job, always job openings. But we're like, huh? Like, what? That seems counterintuitive. We all know the population's growing. We all know we need to feed more and produce more, but yet we're running away from this industry and not supporting it at all. It's just an interesting concept. And so I appreciate you guys out there doing what you're doing, because a lot of people just sort of ran away from food service. And so, gosh, I can't even tell you. I mentor a lot of people and off the podcast and stuff, and I had a lot of people that just decided after many years in business they were done with restaurants or done with their food truck. They didn't want to deal with it anymore and did whatever. So
yeah, a lot of us run in the circles, and we've had several people that we know, like barbecue guy. He just said he's going to pack it up, and a lot of people and the other Chip too. Like, people just saying, they didn't want to. They were. I mean, I don't want to say they didn't want to wait out the storm or try to push through it to the other side. I mean, I'm not trying to say anybody was lazy or anything like that, but I just have confidence in us and have confidence in our brand. I have confidence in our work ethic and our drive, and I feel like, people always have to eat. And if we can figure out a way to do it and make it fun and affordable and portable, I'm willing to give it a shot and go for it.
Affordable and portable. That's pretty awesome. Well, I'll let Skyler, you got any questions since I usually do all the talking?
Yeah, not right now. You guys are on a roll.
All right. So, I mean, I do think it's important that we, all the food service workers out there and people, and Skyler joined me, but I just did a shrimp tank podcast for a podcast called The Shrimp Tank. They're different locations around the country, but we talked a lot about how we've put the medical industry on these pedestals, and they have pops and they have dolls, and we've labeled them as heroes, but we forget that we all still ate during COVID.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they had to go to work to pay their bills, and people treat them like garbage, and I see it all the time, and it breaks my heart when I see people losing their temper with food service people. I mean, these are the people that are feeding you.
Yeah, they get paid a lot less to take on a lot more risk than anyone in the medical field at this point. They're in the same hospitals, you're serving the same food, you're exposed to so many people on a regular basis in and out of the restaurant. I mean, I'm just saying, yes, you can say, oh, they're medical, they're dealing with biology because we associate science with science, but we forget that everyone still has to eat all the time, and we touch and move around food all the time. So the risk is actually the greatest right there. We just don't even realize it, and we treat them like crap. I mean, you're 100% right. We've treated food service, the farmers, the logistics system, it's been pretty bad. And so, what I like about you guys is you're not only moving forward, but you're actually, turning up the volume, if you will, and you're like, okay, things are bad, but we're going to do this brick and mortar concept, and we're going to launch this empanada thing, and we're going to keep moving forward. And the weird thing is competition's a funny thing, guys. There's, everyone says there's two schools of thought, okay? It's either build the biggest building or knock down everyone else's building, where there's the whole other thing where everyone knocks down their own building to be the tallest building. So you can keep building your building to be the tallest, but also at the same time, we're in a world where you have tons of people around you knocking down their own buildings that they built in food service.
I don't like my school of thought of food service is, I'm going to use like a female term. I'm going to straighten somebody's crown. Our brand is not something that would be in direct competition with a lot of things. And honestly, like we even talk about like downtown Woodstock. It's a great area, but it would be better if it had more restaurants and it had more things, because that's where people come. People don't necessarily always come to these little tchotchke shops and things like that. They come to eat and they walk around and they make their decisions based on that. So if there are more restaurants that are diverse and stuff like that, it's going to help everybody is my school of thought on that.
Yeah.
Well, and here's a weird thing, and I'm just going to say it, and I hope people know this, but it's pretty obvious that if humans smell food, they consume more. And I'm not talking only about food. The mind plays a trick where if you're encouraging food trucks to be in your outdoor shopping or whatever, you're going to encourage people to stay there longer, not only to eat, but for some reason we innately, and it's a manipulation, if you will, I guess, but it's true. And they do it in grocery stores and we do it in restaurants, and you purposely have aroma there. Because
that's a bacon on the flat top.
Yeah, exactly. And, bread is a big one. Bread's a lure. It's why they always cook bread in grocery stores. And so for some reason, you want this. You want food in your environments. You don't want to just be like food is a side thought. And we're seeing more and more of that, where we're less concerned about how humans come together to consume food and more about how they just come together in whatever way. And I think if we take a step backwards, we're going to find that having the experience like you guys are creating, making it fun, creating a family atmosphere for drunks and for children in this case, is something that people are afraid of, and making it fun. And even if it's like, you know, entertaining and animated, we're at a point in the world where, yes, we're the wisest being on the planet, but it's sort of like we have a responsibility and we can have fun, and we don't have to take everything so seriously. We just need to enjoy ourselves and consume food and be smart about our choices. And we certainly shouldn't vilify anyone else for wanting to work or stay in food service and all that. And gosh, I know USDA and restaurant policies with COVID are going to get even stricter on restaurants and food service here shortly. So, even more heroes for sure, you guys, everyone out there that's working. So if no one else is going to give you a trophy, I'm here giving everyone a trophy, at least verbally. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah. And like with our brand, like parents, that's one thing, like we say children and drunks and stuff like that, but parents shouldn't have to go to Chuck E. Cheese to have a place where their child can eat and still and be somewhat entertained. Like that, I mean, that place is torture.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of our, parents want to get out and they want to do things. They want to bring their kids with them. So that's kind of why we want to have fun with this. And, parents can eat good food, and we got stuff for the kiddos.
Yeah, and the Chuck E. Cheese is a good example. They definitely focus on entertainment, but they've lost track of the food, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
And so, that you can do both, and I think you guys are doing both, and you're also creating an environment that's, where Chuck E. Cheese went wrong and what Disney World gets right is that they make it about the food experience and the entertainment experience and the characters. And it's no different than, like, let's look at a cereal box. It's about the food. It's about the character on the box. It's about the experience the kid gets by getting the prize out of the box. And that's the same thing that you guys are trying to create. But we as adults, just because a kid craves, it doesn't mean we don't do the same as adults. We are like, oh, when are you going to grow up? Well, the reality is I don't care whether we're going to the store to buy toys or to buy shoes. We're still doing the same thing whether we're adult or child. So that's what I love about your concept. It's like, I don't care. The same is the same is the same. And as soon as we realize that, we never really grow up, whether we're consuming toys or we're consuming shoes or food, it's all the same, and we should just have fun with it. And
grow old, not up.
Yeah, and stop taking ourselves so seriously, I think, and have fun with life. I think it'll go a long way. That's just my 2 cents. I feel like everyone's very serious right now about everything, and the stricter we get, I'm like, well, the stricter everyone gets, the more of a goofball I feel I need to become, just to get everyone to have fun and relax and sort of bring some livelihood back into everything. But
agreed. I mean, it's amazing. Like, you see people standing in line with like a puss on their face, with a scowl, and then they get to the window, and they see Emily with her ears, the raccoon ears on, and it just breaks them. It's just so hurt, like they just chuckle and like, oh, your ears are so cute, and it just brings people kind of, slaps a, happy reality back to you, which the world needs more of, just being, happy and enjoying your day kind of thing. And,
let's all have a look. We don't have to take everything so seriously. You're never going to get out of this alive.
Yeah, no kidding.
Have fun with it.
And the truth is what we really do when we're selling food is we're selling happiness. I mean, food gives us pleasure. It helps us stay fed. We need it to survive, but we're also providing experience and the opportunity to connect with someone in that moment and sell happiness, not just food. And the more you sell the happiness connected with the food, the more the profit the restaurants are going to make. And in your case, you've developed something that's selling the happiness right next to the food. And it's pretty amazing. And like we said about Chuck E. Cheese, it's what they're trying to do. But it's so oriented towards kids, and the food's not very good that it's really lost its purpose and what it was trying to achieve in the first place.
They're selling Chuck E. Cheese pizzas in grocery stores now, which blows my mind.
I know.
It's just bad, but yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to do a name the panda contest when we start, so that'll help kind of get the brand out there. And
yeah, the logo panda needs a name, so we're reluctant to name the panda now. He, she, they, whatever panda, whatever it turns out to be. We're not sure. But.
And we'll hang, because we do the coloring books with all the animals, and we'll kids give us we'll have a wall where all their colorings can be hung up, and they
grown-ups too.
Yeah, grown-ups too. If they want to, yeah. Again, they can get crayons in the coloring books too.
We always say it's not a kids menu; it's a kids or whimsical adults menu.
Yeah.
So they, as long as you're whimsical, you can order chicken nuggets from us. We're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm a very whimsical person when it comes to my creativity as well, so I totally appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is very exciting. Have you guys picked out location yet, or is it, or we're just getting down the design? I mean, how much can you guys let us know, or we're gonna have to get Skyler to get a part 3 together?
Yeah, we're gonna get a little closer. We don't have a location, a specific location yet. We've started, we're, like I said, we're exploring near Kennesaw State University. That's kind of
absolutely
our dream, first idea location to open the first shop.
It's currently still affordable real estate wise, and it's the largest student count in the state. And so that's kind of where our thought process is where we can get in affordably and build out as close to us, and it's walking distance for a lot of kids.
Yeah, and like we were saying, that's kind of the model we want to do is like college towns. We have a whole list of them that we're thinking, after the first, we have a 10-year plan to be living on a beach in Aruba. So there's a list of cities and towns that we want to expand into once the first one is as hopefully as successful as we think it's going to be, and then move forward, and then eventually hopefully franchise and sell frozen pandas in stores, things like that. We feel there's a lot of room for growth with this versus just a food truck or even several food trucks,
because it's a very specific brand.
Yeah.
Well, and I agree 100%. And I think the niche that you guys are going after and what you're trying to do is the very beginning of either franchises or corporate chain or whatever it is, especially college towns. It's where the students, they need more food on the campus. They need more access to food, as Skyler always talk about. It is true. Students are always looking for food 24 hours a day. And they're always looking for options outside of their cafeterias and meal programs for sure. And so I love that that's a particular market, and what the food that you're serving and on the go, I think is just such a cool concept, because it's exactly what college students are most of the time. Even though they have plenty of times on their hands, they for some reason are on the go all the time.
Right. And this menu will be deliverable. It would work with delivery, unlike a lot of the stuff that's on our truck now that doesn't really work for delivery. I think we talked about that a little bit in the previous time. But, the empanadas stay hot for an hour. So, driving it, 10 minutes to the dorms is not going to kill the food, the quality of the food. We sort of see, delivery in the evening and later evening as a big part of this, and then fraternities and sororities have the panda party packs, with a whole bunch of empanadas, in a variety. Yeah, the variety of pandas for parties and stuff like that. It's, again, it's good food that can just kind of sit on a table for a while and still be good an hour later when you realize you should really eat something, since you've been drinking for the last several hours.
Yeah, no kidding.
And that's why we think, the college towns is the way to go for this. It's, sort of a Jimmy John's model, I guess, to a degree. But,
we're doing a lot of research.
Yeah.
We're studying a lot of different business models and other brands that are franchising and what they're doing and how they did what they did. And so we're diving into the research to make sure we know everything. We learn everything we can before, we get this started.
Right. On the bright side, we know how to make empanadas now, unlike when we first started the food truck.
We do know people like our food.
Right. I know which end of a knife to hold now, like when we first started.
So
I feel like we're ahead of the game.
is there an empanada that's not on the menu that you guys, that's like your secret one that you kill it, but you just hold back for that special time? Or, I mean, talk a little bit.
We do
the
a
Philly cheesesteak
one with the beer cheese dipping sauce.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're stupid good. But again, like we do the ribeye, we use actual ribeye for our Phillies, and we hand trim it and hand slice it. It's not like the pre-done like cheap meat or anything like that. And then they're also a little bit more difficult to make. They don't want to seal for some reason as much, but and the profit margin is a little bit thinner, but they're stupid good.
Right. Yeah. It's, the amount of a pain in the butt it is to trim all the steak to have to trim more steak, because we still do sell quite a lot of Philly cheesesteaks. So the idea of, trimming more steak just to make empanadas from that while we're doing the Phillies is not super appealing to Emily right now. So.
Yeah. I get tired of the meats every now and then. I have a threshold of how much meat I can cut in a day before I say I'm going vegetarian.
Yeah. But yeah, the Philly is probably like the special panda, the secret, top secret special panda. We did just break down and buy like a $900 panda maker and empanada press maker. So we're hoping to see that will improve productivity quite a bit.
Yeah. The slicing of the meats, I totally get it. It's interesting because at some point you're going to have to be like, can someone just slice the ribeyes for me? If it grows, but it's just, I totally get the dilemma there and the amount of meat and what do I do? And gosh, there's so much of this going on, and how do I grow it? Do I have outsource it? But it's always a good problem to have, but I think honestly people find different solutions, so that no answer is the right one unless it's the right answer for your business. So
right. And the good thing is we have a third person now who's really super helpful, James, who works on the truck with us. He's like the oldest 23-year-old you'll ever meet.
Seriously.
Yeah, he's like wildly mature, and we want to bring him along for the ride with this, which he's totally on board with, and kind of sees himself as owning a Panda franchise at 25, which is not the easiest thing for people to do at that age, but he's an amazing person.
He sees the vision.
Yeah, and he's on board with the vision, and he's going to be super helpful to help us move this forward with everything.
And he always shows up on time.
Yeah, which is weird in the food industry.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I say, he's the oldest 23-year-old you'll ever meet. The other day he's like, "Do you ever listen to the Carpenters?" And I was like the relaxing
from the 90s.
Yeah, like the relaxing Carpenters. He's like, yeah, I was just listening to their album. It's so good. I was like, yeah, okay.
I think that is. Jeez, it's been 30 years.
Yesterday he said, I was at the CD store.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait a minute. What?
Did you have a time machine? Did you bury the lead? Did you have a time machine?
Yeah.
CD store.
How old are your parents? Are they like 80?
Yeah, he's an amazing person. We're big fans of this guy. So he's he's the third wheel of the Panda.
And he's young and spry.
And he's moldable. He catches on to things and now he brings ideas, which is exciting. So
I will say that just because you guys brought it up, I think any young kid or coming out of college or out of high school that wants a career in something and wants to rise up pretty quickly, food service is a place to do it right now. There's not many people coming into it, and like you said, the bar is set so low historically that you already have a leg up if you just show up on time.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and he said his dream is has always been to own a restaurant, and we're like, well,
Tell him what we got him for Christmas.
Yeah. So, are you guys familiar with Bar Rescue? The TV show Bar Rescue.
It's sort of like the Gordon Ramsay shows where he does the kitchen nightmares, or something. Exactly.
So it's the same concept. The guy John Taffer, he's the host, and he's really super abrasive. He yells at people like on the show and everything. But he has a Taffer's Tavern in Alpharetta here, that was just doing their like 1 year anniversary. And, Emily and I were like, yeah, we should go. That'll be fun. Just check it out. Then on the truck one day, James was like, hey, I'm going to go to Taffer's Tavern. We're like, oh, we're going to Taffer's. So it's like this whole coincidence that we all love bar rescue, as it turns out. And we all went together, got our pictures with him and this and that. And then a couple of days later, or last week or so ago, Emily and I are like, what do we get James for Christmas? Like we want to get him something good because we want to really show him how important he is to us, in this process. And I was like looking at Bar Rescue or Taffer's website, and like as I was scrolling, Emily was like, see, I wonder if he does like cameos, the cameos where celebrities will like, you basically get a recorded message from them.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And like literally as she said it, I got to the part of the website was like, book John for a cameo.
Right, done.
Yeah, we're like, oh shit. So
I mean, it wasn't cheap.
Yeah, but so you fill out the form with like kind of give John ideas of what you want said, and we showed it to him the other day, and we would just catch him in the other end of the truck when it was slow, just like with his phone up to his ear, just listening to it again and stuff, and he was so tickled and so happy with it. And then he quit another job that he had the day later because he's like, I'm with you guys for everything, whatever you guys need. So,
well, and loyalty, interesting. It used to be in generations that come up, trust would be built and then there was loyalty. But what I'm finding is the trust comes a little bit later. You can earn the loyalty by doing nice things and sort of building the trust differently. Normally, trust was built mutually and through things, but in the newer generation, it's just a belief in them. And then there's the loyalty, and then sort of the trust seems to build later on against that loyalty. So I know it seems like, what are you saying? But I'm like, it's an interesting concept, and I think that what you guys did was just showing faith in someone and faith in a generation that hasn't been able to win prizes, that's sort of been flattened in terms of winning and losing. And what you did is just gave them something individually, which was earn the loyalty, and now the trust will come thereafter, which is at least what I found. I mean, I'm obviously assuming it in this case to give an example, but I'm starting to see it with the newer generations that it's exactly that. Once you believe in them and you invest in them, and Skyler may know more about this, that the loyalty comes and then the trust is sort of built from there, versus trust coming first with more skeptical generations like mine. Very hard to trust, very skeptical, and then the loyalty comes. And for one of my mindsets, piggybacking off that, as a business owner, I think there's kind of an archaic ideology that employees need to be loyal to a company first, and I like to look at it from the opposite. I think a company is going to needs to be loyal to their employees and foster their employees and help them build and have confidence and that level of trust, because that's how you keep good employees, and that's how you help them grow, and that's how you motivate them to want to grow and want to add to the team. Absolutely I agree 100%.
Hello,
and so
did we lose you guys?
Justin.
Can you guys hear me? I think it was recording, but it didn't. I think there was a blip in the recording. I'm just going to let it go. The audience will know what went on. But I apologize about that. But so, I mean, one of the cool things is that you're sort of already looking at the next generation. And what you guys said, and this is going to be my thing as we wrap things up here, because I'm definitely going to get you guys on for a part 3. As we get down the road. But I think what you're seeing here is if you invest in people in your business, and if you're a food entrepreneur, I would say it's probably any entrepreneur that's trying to franchise or grow a business. But if you're an entrepreneur in the franchise food, which is where more of my expertise are, I would say I'm a well-rounded entrepreneur. But in food in particular, what Larry and Emily are doing is they are investing in someone, and that someone sees an opportunity to own a franchise so he can be not only a part of something that he's building, but then get an ownership piece of it. And the other side of this that I think is important, because the newer generation see more value in ownership versus retirement funds. That I'm seeing is that these are very real models. And if you're going to franchise your business, bring in young individuals, college students, exactly like you guys have done, and turn around and train them and give them the ability, the leadership knowledge, the well-rounded training, even the ability to make money or work hours eventually or whatever, so they can afford a franchise. Because seriously, this is what happens. It's a circulation of money. I mean, companies did it years ago by vertically integrating. It's the same type of idea. You're just circulating the money into your business through the franchises, and the people you're investing in are also investing in themselves, also in investing in the business, and also in investing in you. So it's like this the creative circle that happens, which is why too, that if you're going to grow a business, you got to grow the people. But if you're going to grow the people, you need to make sure you're growing them in leadership and financially, especially if you want to franchise owners, because no one is going to know the business better and hold the core values than them. Sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. And that's why we want, James along for the ride from the beginning, because, we want him to, be there, see the building, the build out of the new of the shop, be there for all of that. Be there when we open, basically manage the local shop.
See how we figure out food costs.
Yeah, see how we treat people, and everything else. And then, then when it gets to like, okay, this one's great, let's open one in Athens. And then it's like, all right, James, you're 23, you live with your folks currently, you don't have a girlfriend, or go live in Athens for a month, basically.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And let's, you go open that one and, hire a manager, and then we'll pop out to want it done. And, and
what our expectations are.
And then the next one and the next one, so on and so on. He becomes like the, the corporate.
Exactly.
And then that way we know that it's somebody we trust who's, when he speaks, we're speaking, basically, that kind of thing. And that's what, you can't get that if you've opened it up and then hire somebody, because they don't know every detail of it that we want. He'll be there from it doesn't exist, we have a logo and T-shirts, to an actual shop. So
and I love it, because one of the things that we're starting to see here, and I want to emphasize on the podcast also, is that everyone's always like, well, I got to hire a position or hire something, and they get caught up in the idea of the position or the thing. But here's the thing. People will cross your path and they break the rules of the norm. They show up on time, just to give an example. They're doing things. They have more potential. Their vision. They seem older. They seem more as an entrepreneur. And by giving them more, I'm also talking about attention and education, not because it's fair or not fair, or you shouldn't invest in everyone. I'm not talking about that. Yes, you should. But if you're a smart entrepreneur, straight up how you survive is investing in other people that eventually do the jobs that you create.
Those people that are hungry. And I don't mean, for, the people that are hungry for it, that are enthusiastic, that, and he wants to know. And we've started we want to educate him, and have started showing him some of the numbers and some of the, behind the scene things. And you can just see his wheel spinning. And that's just so encouraging to Larry and I, because it's not just, smoke in the wind. He's absorbing it and taking it in.
Yeah. And we, he told him, it's like, the money might not be great right up front, to be doing all this.
Yeah,
but
it's going to be worth it.
If you're, if you look at it as an investment, and, as an education / investment to where we all get this where we want it to be, you're going to, again, be owning a franchise at 25. So that's pretty good thing to tough it out for a little while with not making a ton of money.
Well, and I think the education in the next generation, the generation after, and continuing to evolve and educate in food and take the time to do it is just essentially important. And we have growing populations, and we've got to keep figuring out how to feed people. And the more we develop perfectly good farmland into cities, we're going to be running out of land and trying to figure out how to turn non-traditional farmland into farmland. So one day, like this passing on of information, there's going to be a people across from farming to food that's going to have to figure out how to come together and solve a greater problem in food, how to get it to the humans, how to get it to the animals we eat, so on and so forth. So we don't realize it, but every time we're educating someone in food or in food service or gaining experience in it, it's pretty essential. It's one of the three things we need to absolutely survive. And, you know, no matter how we look at it, we're not going to stop consuming as humans, and we're not going to stop growing and wanting more and more profit and wealth and retirement. So we just got to be prepared, and the best way to be prepared is just continue to educate everyone as we go along, particularly in food, just like you guys are doing. So it's not only important for your business, it's important for the next generations. And ironically, if you want your business to be around as long as McDonald's has figured out how to train generation after generation of high school students to run these businesses for them. And not only that, they still have franchisees that bought into their franchisees' business that are still loyal franchisees 50, 60, 70 years later, and in third, fourth generation in their families. And so that's the type of thing that happens when people do exactly what you guys are doing. So it's definitely happens to be, from your guys' experience, exactly what needs to be done, is empowering the next generation.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also one of those things. If you have that drive and are eager, you don't necessarily have to put yourself $100,000 in debt to go to college. If you have enough mathematic background to be able to figure out food costs and things like that, you can. It is feasible to do something like this.
I know. Just wait, Skyler. One of your next missions is going to be sending off to Panda Academy to get training for our franchise for Georgia College.
No, that's a good point about the college towns. I was just sitting here thinking about it, and there's just always people looking to learn there. There's always students that want to work, just make a little bit of extra money. So it's just a good place, especially with the labor shortage today. Just a good place to set up in.
Yeah, and having the right mentality of they're not just a worker, they're an employee, and helping them, like learn as they go, learn on their feet. That holds value beyond just the paycheck.
And it's absolutely 100%. There's nothing like learning on your feet or learning customer service like in food, because stuff goes wrong in food, even with your best intentions. No matter how much it is, you truly learn that it's progress, not perfection. And just so many lessons being in food service that you learn, even if you don't end up there. I can't imagine not having had that experience in my life. Just at least the customer service.
Everyone needs to work in retail or food service at one point in their life, or should, so they understand, what it's like, and working with people, and
how to treat people.
I know. I've thought about it like a way that fixing the food service problem, and probably a necessary evil, would be like every kid before they had to graduate from a university had to have 6 months experience at a fast food chain. I mean, just because the operation, the efficiency, the lean production, the managing of complex things, the narrowing down the margins so much. I mean, if you really taught someone what they were doing in food service, in fast food, it's quite an experience. Mathematical timing and timing the runs and milliseconds of things moving the line along so no person's waiting more than 2 minutes, and so on and so forth. I mean, those are all lessons. And you can't get them anywhere else.
You wouldn't get 27 packs of hot sauce for 2 tacos.
Yeah. That is true. I agree with you, as my family does love Taco Bell, so we have more hot sauce packets than we've ever eaten in tacos, and I still to this day cannot figure out how they've never gotten control of that in their restaurants.
Same.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need, you gave me 3 tacos, I don't need all this.
Yeah. It should be like no person can have, I mean, even 2 per taco would be more than enough, but it seems like a limit when you get like a handbag full of every seasoning. Oh, can I have hot? Next thing you know, I have 17 different items, and the bag weighs more on the hot sauces than the tacos. So
Right. Yeah. If you got your hot sauce distribution under control, they'd be able to pay you more.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And that's the thing about we don't teach anymore. Like how do you teach people to be more efficient and then try to get them to understand that everyone could make more money and they could benefit their team members if they were more efficient. But it's like one of those things.
One thing I like to say that I like to use analogies or proverbs or metaphors or whatever sometimes because it helps solidify things in people's heads sometimes. And I heard something one time and it says, watch your pennies and your dollars will mind themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So watch the little things like the hot sauce packets and watch some of the, your paper goods and things like that. And because you're still going to have to pay for your meat and all that. But, those are small things that you can control and help,
Yeah, which is another thing, on the food truck drives you crazy because we put the condiments out on the counter and it's just like, you got an order of fries and you took 7 ketchups. Like, are you putting a packet of ketchup on each fry? Is that your plan here? I mean,
I know.
Did somebody's paying for those things, for God's sakes. I sound like an old man. But,
I know. And in my business, it's like always the hairnets, the gloves, the volume of uniforms unneedingly being dirty. Like, can you only go through, I know you need to change them every time they're dirty, but come on, can we not go through 6 a day, maybe like 2 to 4? Like, but it's just like, just like, oh, there's more available. Yep. More available. More available. And so, it's this weird mindset that if it's available, we should consume more because there's enough for everybody. But if there's not enough, we're a little more scarce because we want to make sure there's enough for everyone. It's the total trick of the human mind that abundance means more abundance of consuming. And so it's just one of those things. It's probably how we survived.
That's why sometimes you don't put out too many condiments because people will see that. If you put out enough and you refill it on a regular basis, they'll have the natural mentality of, well, there's not a whole lot here. Other people are going to need it instead of 7 packets.
Yeah. Theoretically. Yeah.
Wow, that was amazing, guys. I am definitely looking forward to a part 3 and maybe in the next 3 months. And all the listeners, happy holidays. Thank you, everyone. This is our last podcast before the new year, I think, unless Skyler's got some lined up for next week. Who knows? Maybe he does. But
working on it.
Happy holidays, everyone. Stay safe. Follow Little Bites Food Truck again on Instagram and Facebook. And you can find them at littlebitesfoodtruck.com as well. And so Larry and Emily, seriously amazing story. James, I'll give you a shout out there. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
All I can say is listen and learn. And gosh, I was a young entrepreneur in the food world with my dad when I became an entrepreneur, and he gave me the opportunity and mentored me when I was starting at 18, especially when I became like 22, 23, when I took it on full time after college. But if you get that experience, it's invaluable. It's a jump start in the world. If people like Emily and Larry are willing to invest in you, I would take as much time as you can to absorb as much of it as you can, because it doesn't happen often. And it's one of those rare opportunities that you actually find people who are willing to do it. Because a lot of people say they will, very few people actually go all the way through with it. So,
thank you. We feel we're touched.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But this is who we are as people. That's just, so.
Yeah, you guys, happy holidays to you guys, everybody out there listening. Also, if you want, you can follow UDEM Pandas ATL on Instagram. It's not a lot of content there yet, but you'll be in the loop at least as we move forward.
And I'll add it on the description when I release it tonight. So it'll go out tonight. Actually, for most of the audience, it'll show up in the AM since I'm Colorado time, and most of our audience is almost up to a day ahead of us around the globe. But I'll put it on there. That way everyone can start following it and clicking on it and see what it is. If Skyler, if you'll just get that and text it to me as well. We'll get that information up there. I look forward to the transition. I think this is amazing, and I look forward to having you back. And everyone listening in, we do this for free. Larry and Emily came on here, talked about it, sharing their experience. Go buy their food, go try it, go see what they're doing with their concept. That's paying the dues. And for Skyler and I, it's about spreading and helping entrepreneurs out there. So keep sharing the podcast. Keep moving it along. I see our downloads are starting to go up again as we've relaunched. As Skyler's holding me more on a schedule, I should say. And and so thank you guys. So continue to download it, continue to share, and continue to push it through all the different platforms. We are on all the different podcast platforms. So happy holidays. Thank you again, Emily and Larry, and everyone. Enjoy your holidays and Happy New Year.
Thank you guys. Happy holidays.